Confined space entry hazard and safety precaution. Confined space entry hazard has limited or restricted means for entry or exit. Is not designed for continuous employee occupancy. Flammable gas, vapor, mists in excess of 10% of its lower explosive flammable limit, 10% lower LFL. Airborne combustible dust at or above its LFL. Atmospheric oxygen concentration below 19.5% or above 23.5%, volume. Atmospheric concentration of any substance above the permissible exposure limit. Threshold, limit value, TLV, H2S. 10 parts per million, NH3. 25 parts per million etc. Oxygen deficiency, less than 19.5% volume. Presence of toxic, corrosive or hazardous materials, H2S, hydrocarbons, NH3, sulfur and coke dust. Presence of flammable, combustible, explosive or pyrophoric material, for example sludge. Restricted access. Limited number of entry, exit points, for example single-man way. Restricted to freedom of movement inside confined space. Falling, tripping hazards. Poor illumination, visibility, communication. High temperature and humidity. Electrical, static or radioactive hazards. Mechanical hazards, for example tank mixers, falling objects such as tools, refractory. Lack of natural light. Dusts in high concentrations such as flour. Liquids and solids suddenly filling. Hot working conditions increasing body heat. Flammable or explosive atmospheres. Harmful gas, fume or vapor. Free-flowing solid or an increasing level of liquid. Excess of oxygen. Excessively high temperature. There may be an insufficient amount of oxygen for the worker to breathe. The atmosphere might contain a poisonous substance that could make the worker ill. The workers lose consciousness. Natural ventilation alone will often not be sufficient to maintain breathable quality air. Hazards from asphyxiants. Asphyxiants are gases which can become so concentrated that they displace oxygen in the air, normally about 21%. Low oxygen levels, 19.5% or less, can cause symptoms such as rapid breathing, rapid heart rate, clumsiness, emotional upset, and fatigue. As less oxygen becomes available, nausea and vomiting, collapse, convulsions, coma and death can occur. Unconsciousness or death could result within minutes following exposure to asphyxiants. Asphyxiants include argon, nitrogen, or carbon monoxide. Chemical exposures due to skin contact or ingestion as well as inhalation of bad air. Fire hazard. There may be an explosive, flammable atmosphere due to flammable liquids and gases. Combustible dusts which if ignited would lead to fire or explosion. Process-related hazards such as residual chemicals, release of contents of a supply line. Physical hazards. Noise, heat, cold, radiation, vibration, electrical, and inadequate lighting. Moving parts of equipment, structural hazards, engulfment, entanglement. Vehicular and pedestrian traffic. Shifting or collapse of bulk material. Barrier failure resulting in a flood or release of free-flowing solid or liquid. Visibility, for example, smoke particles in air. Biological hazards. Viruses, bacteria from fecal matter and sludge, fungi, and molds. Confined space entry safety precaution. Entry into all confined spaces shall be permitted only with a confined space entry authorization. Prepare the confined space entry site-specific and task-specific analysis shall be submitted along with the present hazards, precautions and waived item to company approval. Prior to work commence, valid work permit shall be obtained attached with approved method statement and risk assessment. Prior to work commence, all involved personnel shall undergo required training courses in accordance with HSE training plan and training matrix. Toolbox talk, TBT. TSTI shall be conducted to identify and understand hazards and the control measures prior to work commence. Required and mandatory approved PPE shall be used by all personnel involved in this activity. Confined space entry safe work practices should be followed. All personnel concerned shall take medical check-up and safety induction. Calibrated and valid certified gas tester and portable detector shall be used. Confined space. Do not enter signage shall be displayed visibly to the entrance of any confined space. Establish specific rescue plan and rescue equipment identified available to effect a rescue in the confined space. Body harness shall be worn by all workers entering confined space. The entry supervisor shall review all emergency procedures with all entrants and other related personnel and discuss this through TSTI. Emergency rescue from inside shall be made through proper lifeline, rope, horizontal, and the use of tripod, vertical. Verify and monitor presence of atmosphere by means of gas testing before commencing work. Gas testing shall be done before and during the entire activity vicinity to measure oxygen level. Find out presence of other hazardous gases. The testing must be done by authorized gas tester. Trained attendant, watcher, with attendant card shall be placed at entrance and be able to communicate with workers inside. Only personnel trained and authorized with entrant card shall enter the confined space. Recognized communication method. Equipment to be used between attendant and entrance. Use of audible signal. Whistle. Buddy system shall always be implemented. Attendant shall check and control entry with a proper list, entry log sheet. Ventilation facility shall be equipped to ensure adequate airflow. Ensure sufficient lighting inside confined space. Entrance shall have torch or personal helmet light in case of emergency or power failure. Hearing protection apparatus shall be worn. Ground cable shall be installed. Cable and hoses shall be properly routed. All power sources shall be equipped with 30 mA ELCB, earth leakage circuit breaker. Any tools to be used in confined space shall be checked thoroughly in advance. No gas cylinders to be taken into confined space. Do not introduce oxygen supply or cylinders into the confined space. Sufficient nose of inspected and approved fire extinguishers shall be placed around work area. All manual handling works shall comply with manual handling procedure. Maintain good housekeeping and use proper access to prevent slip, trip and fall. Workers must be provided with frequent rest breaks and job rotations. In case of emergency, shall comply with emergency management plan.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.